Eoghan.
You said that Fingal County Council is the inappropriate place for a major infrastructure issue. What is the quick fix on the cap, as far as you're concerned?
Well, at the moment, I don't think there is one. The quickest fix is not going to be getting planning, because planning moves slowly here. So we think that's going to take us 2 to 3 years. Is there anything else that would remove the cap? Look, we're considering everything. We might put in a second application at some point in time if we think it'll go faster. You could have legislation passed, but I think we're going to be waiting for planning to remove the cap.
I think what I'm asking is structurally, what would you like to see happening if the politicians moved on it? What structures would you like to see put in place to prevent this sort of issue arising again?
Well, we would love Dublin Airport to be classed as strategic infrastructure. We would love to go straight to a fast track Orplan process so that we can get planning granted faster rather than going through Fingal. I think this is unfair with Fingal because everybody's saying they're holding up the process. There's lots of challenges for Fingal, so I think it would be fairer for them and better for Ireland and better for Dublin if we said Dublin Airport was classed as strategic infrastructure, as Dublin Port is.
Okay. Barry, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a couple. First, 2 things, Kenny. There seems to be an indication there that this cap is potentially open to some kind of legal challenge at competition or EU level. Are you guys, or are you aware of anyone else considering that? And the other thing, given that there's at least 3 Cork people in the room, which I'm aware, could you give us a little bit of sense of what your actual plans are for getting 40% more passengers through there? I would have thought everybody would want to fly there, obviously.
You're right.
For Gary, 2 things. 50% people going through C3 this summer. Will that be evenly spread between 2 terminals, or will it be more in Terminal 1 or more in Terminal 2? And there was one, something that popped up on the display which you didn't refer to. Everybody wants a rail link. I'm assuming that feedback is coming from passengers, but could you give us a sense of who and where is saying that? Because just my own view is that if you live in, I don't know, if you live in the Midlands, you have to drive to Dublin, so you're not going to get a train to the airport.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I don't mind going first. Yeah, so we're by the end of May, we'll in machine numbers will be 75% roughly in T2 of the project completed, and 35% in T1. Passengers will be slightly different, but in effect it's going to be 60%, 70% in T2 of that 50% will be T2, and the balance will be T1 as such. In relation to the rail link, yeah, look, that was a specific call out to the passenger panel. People even from down the country, and we had representation from quite a broad area. People did say they would avail of more public transport coming to the airport, trains from the country if we had a connection then from whether it be Houston or from Connolly. So look, we've been talking about that for a long time and keen to get that in any shape or form, a spur from something that's existing or the ultimate connection. So that is feedback coming from a lot of different areas.
Yeah, we welcome whatever public transport, whatever train from, do both, do a Metrolink and do a train, do a DART, do everything, because it's just give people the choice. On Cork, we will start by knocking the old terminal, and that gives us space. We'll add a new mezzanine floor as you go into arrivals, which gives us a bigger place upstairs, so we can do the C3 machines, make retail bigger, add another lounge, and basically Barry, the airport will extend out that way to give us more stands and piers. That will allow Cork to be an airport that can have 5 to 6 million passengers a year. So look, that ties in with the government's plan to make the city and county a 1 million population city and county, that we want to build Cork well ahead of that demand. So we want an airport that's ready for the population growth. I think the airlines are very interested. They will have aircraft coming on stream, and it's good that Cork really, it's the second biggest airport in the country, but we really want to push on with driving the traffic there, getting more airlines into Cork. I think short haul, everybody in Cork obviously wants long haul, but I think it's just connecting Cork with every big European city. That's what we'd look to do in summer and in winter. On the cap, do I think someone's going to challenge the cap? No. Somebody might challenge the slot process, which is governed by the regulator, the IAA. So ultimately, look, JetBlue challenged the cap at Schiphol, took it to Brussels and competition court, and it was decided pretty quickly. So I would imagine at the moment several airlines are considering litigation to try to be able to grow at Dublin, to be able to add frequencies, to be able to add aircraft next year. So let's wait and see. I don't think that will play out anytime soon, but it'll be more likely to be in the autumn and winter.
Okay, just to clarify, Cork,
Yeah.
so you're gonna knock the old terminal building, which isn't really being used anymore.
No, it's not.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
Right, anyone else?
Yep, and you mentioned there in the presentation demand is growing from the US markets at Dublin. So then in order to stay within 32 million cap, which you got to last year, are you noticing a decline in other markets? Like how is this going to work if there's a load of demand from the US? Where is the decline coming from?
There's no decline coming from anywhere.
But then how do you stay within 32 million?
We stay in 32 million by removing incentive schemes, by telling airlines you should really think twice maybe about applying for slots in Dublin. As you know, we don't control the passenger number. That's governed by the slot process, that's managed by the IAA. So ultimately, are there airlines out there still applying for slots? Yes. Have some airlines not applied for slots because they think they might not get them? Yeah. But it's a slot process rather than us controlling the passenger number. What we know, looks, Ethiopian have moved. The Roots conference was in Copenhagen 2 weeks ago. There's 8 airlines there that we were spoken to. Some have already decided that they're not going to apply for slots in Dublin because they think they won't get them. So it's happening. I think some people were thinking, okay, are we making all this up? Will slots go? Will passengers go? Look, there is demand out there, I think, for about 34 to 35 million passengers. So we will be complying with the cap. That keeps us to about 33 and a bit gross passengers, about 32 million net of transfers. But ultimately there's more demand out there to connect with Dublin from existing airlines and brand new airlines looking to come in who are now thinking twice about will they do it because of the cap.
Can I ask about the Macalady land? I mean, you've seen the concept plan. Is the idea of sharing the runways with them in the future something the DA would consider? Would you object to planning if it went in?
Look, there's no planning on it for a start. It's just a concept. So it's interesting. We ultimately are going to get on with our plan. I think it'll be 2 decades before you see a concept like that at Dublin Airport. The airport will grow at the Terminal 1 and Terminal 2 at the east side of the airport. There'll be some development at the west, but I don't think there'll be a third terminal anytime soon. That's well beyond 50 million passengers.
Will had a question?
Yeah, just in relation to car parking, have you heard any more developments as regards potential use of the quick park site by someone else?
Haven't heard about anybody else. Look, we would still like to operate it this summer, so we will be contacting the owners to say, can we at least operate it over the summer so that we get 5,000 additional spaces, which we will need. So we haven't given up that part yet, Will. Like, we're not going to get to own it, but we would like to operate this summer while they are trying to sell it.
Cardigan and the gentleman here.
Can I ask why there are no plans to place a deposit return scheme machine into either of the terminals? I know you say that you can return them at WH Smith and Boots, but if I'm flying out of Terminal 1 with Ryanair, the departure gates are quite a distance from both Boots and the WH Smith and main concourse. The public are calling for the machines. What is the reason for there no plans for put in place?
Yeah, so as you pointed out there, we have 3 points in positions in which people can return at the moment, and you know, I suppose we're not in control of what people bring to the airport. We're still recommending people not bring 100 millilitres plus through security, you know, and we're no longer selling, I suppose, those bottles that are subject to return ourselves. So yeah, we feel that within the areas in which we sell the bottles or our concessions sell the bottles, there is the ability to bring them back. You know, I think how we would coordinate broader is probably something we need to look at in the future.
We don't think we need one yet. Look, we'll keep an open mind. If we think we need one at some point in time, we would obviously look at it.
Maybe worth saying we do provide refill stations, so if people bring their own bottles, which ideally, I mean, the scheme is intended to remove plastic, so ideally bring your own bottle and use the water you provided would be ideal, but obviously not everybody will do that. Yeah,
and there are 28 places in which you can refill your own reusable bottle, I suppose, so that obviously is something we would promote as well.
Over there?
Oh,
that was your question, okay.
Am I asked, would there be room to ask your retailers to get rid of the deposit cost?
sorry.
Like the people who are, the shops who charge the fee for the deposit return scheme, is there room there to ask them to remove that?
Well, I suppose they are the shops in which you can return. So I suppose like the scheme works, they're charging it to fund the return. I suppose so that's why those 3 locations provide that and are required to provide that. The other areas in which they're not charging for those for the bottles are exempted.
Maybe worth adding, I don't believe that's a choice. All retailers of bottles are obliged to charge it regardless of having return facilities. Those 2 things are actually separate. Does anyone have a question?
Sorry, just back to the Cork Airport, if we could. On plans to grow by 40%, how do you convince airlines to grow in Cork, considering that they're so reticent to do that at the moment when Dublin Airport is capped? So you've spoken about before what's applying to Dublin. How are you going to grow Cork Airport if they're not willing to move to Cork at the moment?
Well, like airlines want to go to Cork, so there's no issue getting airlines to Cork. Look, you do it with low charges, you do it with a good airport. They will see the demand as the population goes up. Airlines are pretty good at seeing those things, and I think they will. With a very good airport with low charges, I don't see an issue with airlines adding additional aircraft to Cork. We'd like to get new airlines to Cork. We'd like to get both Ryanair and Aer Lingus to grow. But I don't think that would be a challenge at all for us.
Just on the car park as well, obviously for large chunks last summer, you had problems with access to car parks just in terms of the numbers. If you don't get access to that extra parking spaces this year, will that pose a bit of a problem, do you feel?
It'll be the same problem as last year. So our advice is the same to passengers. Look, definitely if you're going on summer holidays, book as early as you can. We can't guarantee people a space. We will do a good job at managing the car park spaces that we have. We have over 20,000 car park spaces. So look, it's not a major drama that people now need to be worried about. It was fine last year, but our advice is book early. We would love to have the additional 5,000 spaces. We didn't get them, but we'll do a good job of running the car park spaces that we have.
Yeah, the DAA is seeking concessions so they can effectively bypass Fingal and go straight to the Department for certain planning applications. Is that kind of undermining Fingal? Is that Fingal, and would you consider reapplying to increase the cap this way if you're allowed? Because as long as it doesn't affect noise, as long as it doesn't have noise implications, I believe is your argument.
I don't think it undermines Fingal at all. I think it makes life easier for them because they just have one. We're a challenge because of the objections that would be there, and I think it's challenging for Fingal when you've got all of Ireland having an opinion on should Dublin grow or not, and it's kind of in their hands to kind of manage the first phase. So I actually think it would help them if we were able to go directly to straight to a more planala for planning application.
And would you consider then putting the cap through again, or putting the planning app to extend the cap through?
In theory, yeah, but look, I think we'll still be dealing with Fingal for the next couple of years, and they do a great job. So I think that would be a while away. So if we are doing a second application, theoretically, I think we'll still be applying to Fingal.
Any other questions? No?
Can I just ask one, just because we're heading into the bank holiday weekend, how many passengers are you expecting to pass through this weekend? And I suppose an update on the car park heading for people who are heading abroad over the next few days?
Yeah, so look, it is a busy weekend, but a lot of the holiday weekend so far, Easter, Paddy's Day, have been really busy, so it's no busier than them. But again, yeah, we will experience days of up to 110,000 through the weekend, yeah, we will see busy periods. The car parking, I think we've already gone out to say we're tight at certain times, and so if people need car parking to get in and book, there is still availability there, and so we've been out kind of recommending people to get in as early as possible rather than coming to the airport with that uncertainty.
And remember the bus, there's more and more people taking the bus to the airport. That's like buses from town, but principally the operators who bring people to the airport. So we are seeing over the past 2 years an increase in the number of passengers who come to the airport via bus. We are seeing a decrease in the number that come via car. That's ultimately a good thing. So we would encourage people to look at that option as well.
Any more questions?
Anything else?
Oh, good. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming.